Today I'm going to be defacing and reviewing Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This will be a spoiler-free, so don't worry about that if you haven't already read the book. I'm hoping by the end of this video you'll want to go pick it up because this book was so amazing. It's a young adult sci-fi slash fantasy book, and it's a dystopian, and this book was so amazing. If you are like me and you love books where there are superheroes, specifically kids with superpowers, you are going to love this book. So in this, the Renegades are the superheroes. The world had anarchy had taken over, and the Renegades are these prodigies who brought back peace and rules and society and order, because before there was just chaos when the anarchists reigned over the world. They're a symbol of hope and courage, except to the villains who they overthrew. So Nova is our main character, and she hates the Renegades, and she is on a mission for vengeance and revenge. She meets her target, Adrian. He is a renegade boy, and he is basically the epitome of the Renegades, everything they represent: courage, justice, hope, all of that. And Nova is actually on the side of the villains, the anarchists. So it's really, really interesting. There's secret identities, powers. Her whole goal is vengeance and revenge, and his goal is justice. So it's definitely really, really interesting, and I loved their dynamic, and I really, really loved the characters in this book. I will say in the beginning there were so many characters that I was definitely confused, and I had to refer back to the list that they had at the beginning of the book. There was a list of like all the characters, and I found myself referring back to that a lot because at the beginning, for I would say the first third of the book, I was pretty confused. But anyways, that was just my general overview of the book and some of my initial thoughts about it. And then I'll just tell you a little bit about what I'm doing to the cover of the book if you're interested. Right now, I just did a ombre effect, I guess you could say. I don't know, I'm not an artist, but I did a blue to silver ombre, and I'm writing Renegades and doing some geometric shapes and different things below, as you'll see. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did for this cover. I tried to stick to the original color scheme because I really, really liked the blue and the red and the way that contrasts. Before I continue on, I would love to know what book you want me to deface next, so comment down below and let me know, and we can chat in the comments. And if you're enjoying this video, if you could subscribe and click that little bell down below to be notified when I post new videos every Monday, I would really, really appreciate it. Something that I really loved is that this took a really unique take on superheroes. It was nothing like the Marvel superheroes we see in movies, and I also had just seen, I think it's called The Boys or something like that. It was on Amazon Prime. It's a TV show, and those takes on superheroes like Renegades and that TV show really, really change the way I saw superheroes, because I only thought they could be portrayed as what you see in those Marvel movies, but or Marvel or DC, I guess. And like, this just really changed my perspective, and it showed me that there's so much more superheroes than I have usually seen, and I also love how the author, incorporated anarchy and anarchists, because I thought that was so different than any other thing I've really seen in a lot of dystopian books, and it really brought up a lot of questions about morality that really intrigued me. It was a awesome read. I loved the cast of characters as well because it was really diverse, and it was just really interesting to see all their different perspectives and their different personalities, and I felt like every character was really well fleshed out and had their own, strengths and weaknesses and different things like that. And I also liked the romance aspect of this. Sometimes I feel like it can can be really hit or miss with romance, as I'm sure you all can agree. But this one, I think they really nailed it because it was really, really a slow burn, and it made you want the characters to be together. Like, I was just like, every time they had an interaction together, I was always rooting for them to be together, and I am just so curious to see what the next books bring. One thing I didn't love as much was probably, if I had to say something, was the pacing. Maybe it was because at the beginning I was so confused with all of the different characters and everything, and it really slowed me down to have to try to keep track of all the characters in my brain. And this was the first book I read out of getting out of a reading slump, so that kind of partly attributed to what attributed. I can make words, but that partially could have contributed as to why I was kind of confused at the beginning. But there was just so many characters that really slowed me down in the beginning to try to keep track of them all. So that was one thing. The pacing was pretty slow for me. Like, they had intriguing action scenes, but they didn't feel, because I was so confused, they didn't feel fast paced. Because I was just like muddled and trying to figure it all out, if you know what I mean. So if anything, the pacing was something I didn't like, but after, I would say, the first third, it really got good for me, and I really enjoyed it after that. So if you are hesitant, I would say go for it, but don't be quick to DNF this. Like, give it a chance and really get into this, because it is a long book and I think it is totally worth the read. Now, if you want to talk about more books with me, I have done a ton of defacings, and we'll have a playlist down below that you can check out if you want more videos like this, where you like this art incorporated with this review type of style. I would also love any tips or advice you have for doing reviews, and if you want more in-depth reviews, or if you like what I'm doing now, any comments you have, I would love to hear them down below. You can also come hang out with me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Books with Alyssa J. Plus, give this video a like if you want more awesome videos like this, and click that notification bell down below so you don't miss my next video coming up on Monday. Thank you all so much for watching, and keep reading.